There I was, a young man riding high, a whole career still ahead of me, blissfully unaware that fate was about to deal me the cruelest of hands.
Breaking sports news now. Reports coming out of London Colney today are indicating that Arsenal right-back and England World Cup hero J.Hunter has suffered the third serious leg break of his career.
I'd awoken that day full of promise, optimism and hope for the future, but closed my eyes in a hospital bed that night with my entire world crashing down around me.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Just how big a challenge does he face in coming back from a broken tibia and fibula? Dr. Ralph Rogers is a consultant in sports medicine. Good morning.
Morning, Rachel.
He was in tears, we're told, in the dressing room. He looked in a lot of pain, understandably. What's the process from here?
Well, it's going to be a long, hard process for him, no doubt about it. 1 leg break, fine. 2 leg breaks, not ideal. But 3 leg breaks in 3 years, he'll be left with a leg with roughly the strength of a Weetabix. He's not so much going to need a surgeon, more a decent welder.
And how effective can the surgery be? Can it? What's involved in that?
Rods mainly, Rachel. Lots of big bloody metal rods and screws and bolts and wires and plates. It's going to be absolute carnage, if I'm honest with you.
In that case, let's concentrate on the rehab, because actually that's the most key element in terms of his recovery, isn't it?
Let me be straight with you, Rachel. We won't be seeing J.Hunter play football at the highest level ever again. It's that simple.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ralph Rogers.
Okay, let me back up a little bit. You might well be asking, who is this J.Hunter? Arsenal right back and England World Cup hero, owner of a leg made of Weetabix. Well, he is me. At least this was what I looked like at the time, before my life took a sad turn of events. This is how my face has ended up. Yeah, it's been a tough few years. We'll find out more about that in a bit. But if you've got a couple of minutes first, I'd love to fill you in on what happened before I completed my hat-trick of broken legs at the ripe old age of 22, how I hit rock bottom, and how I climbed back up again to where we find ourselves today. So my footballing career began, let's say, unconventionally. After going nowhere fast at my hometown club Leatherhead FC, at age 18 I made the uncommon choice to pursue a footballing career in Asia, eventually finding myself after a few seasons at Thai League giants Buriram United. Despite narrowly missing out on winning the Thai League with Buriram, some good individual performances attracted the eyes of Spanish second-tier side Girona, allowing me a route back to European football. A season of dazzling displays in Spain quickly attracted the attention of recently relegated Southampton, paving our route back to the motherland. As part of a dominant Saints side, I got to experience the thrill of promotion back into the top flight, an experience that was topped only a few weeks later by a shock call-up to Gareth Southgate's England team for the Qatar World Cup. What followed was a storyline that even Hollywood's finest minds would have struggled to conjure up, as I found myself stepping up to take the decisive penalty in the World Cup final. And that was it. That was the highest of high points in a short but eventful career. But the good news didn't end there, as after bursting into the public eye after the World Cup, the team I've supported since childhood, the mighty Arsenal, came a-knocking. Sure, I got off to a slow start there, but things were looking up after an unlikely run to the Champions League semi-final, and in theory, the sky was the limit. Until a certain Brazilian, who will remain nameless, came steaming in during a Tuesday morning training game, breaking my leg for the 3rd time in just 3 years. Oh yeah, I didn't mention the leg breaks, did I? They were certainly a feature of my early career, but none so devastating as this one. So what happened next? Well, rehab, scans, one disappointing prognosis after another. You may never play football again. Drinking, clubbing, drinking, termination of contract, more drinking, and descent into a pit of despair. 23 years old and looking, at best, at a return to football somewhere maybe in 12 to 14 months. At worst, a tragically early end to a career that was already very successful but still had a long way to go. Dark times. Meanwhile, just down the road from my hospital bed, my hometown club, the mighty Leatherhead FC, aka the Tanners, were having a much happier time. Since our departure some 5 years ago, they had quite incredibly managed to drag themselves for the first time in their history from the depths of the Isthmian Premier League the 7th tier of the English football pyramid, all the way up to the heady heights of League Two, amongst the Boltons, Oldhams and Bradfords of this world. It was around this time that we emerged from our pit of despair, heavier, sure, and very much clubless. In a rush of hometown pride, we agreed a short-term contract with Leatherhead, to much media attention. World Cup hero, recovering alcoholic, joins League Two minnows. A choice mocked by many at the time, but one that kick-started a series of events that saw the rise of Leatherhead FC reach meteoric pace. First came significant investment from Leatherhead resident and silver screen icon Sir Michael Caine, financing the building of the Caine Arena on the outskirts of the town.
Yes, you must have shot an awful lot of tigers, sir. Yes, I used a machine gun.
Second came a quite incredible and unexpected run to secure a late playoff spot, in which we eventually overcame Exeter City at Wembley to clinch a place in League One against all the odds. After a full season back in football, the love of the game very much returned. I had a lot of offers, but I was a Tanner once again, and this time for life. Our first season in League One was an unsurprisingly tricky one, a huge step up in quality, and ended in narrowly avoiding the drop and the sacking of then manager Nicky Bull. In a move that shocked many, I was appointed as player manager by the board before the season began, a season that, under my direction, saw another dramatic dash for the playoffs, and once again a playoff final win, taking us into the penultimate tier of the Football League pyramid, the Championship, which is where we find ourselves today, still with myself at the helm, still with a squad made up almost entirely of players who were just a few short years ago playing against Margate and Carshalton Athletic, and still with Sir Mickey Caine in charge of the purse strings.
Well, you all settled in? Right, we can begin.
So before we meet the team, let me give you a quick flavour of my hometown and the team at which we now find ourselves. First up, and this isn't going to take long, the town itself. A Surrey town about as unremarkable as every other of the many commuter towns that encircle London. With a population of just over 11,000, Leatherhead is arguably most famous for its industrial estates, M25 Junction, and at one point holding the dubious title of worst high street in Britain. Okay, I am perhaps being a little harsh. It is the gateway to the beautiful Surrey Hills, and it's generally a pretty nice place to live. But beyond that, not a huge amount more to say. But work your way down the now not quite so bad high street, over the River Mole that flows through the town, and you'll find yourself at Fetcham Grove Stadium, home to Leatherhead FC since 1946. The 75 years since moving in have been largely uneventful, well, until now that is, with a couple of FA Cup runs of note being their most high-profile successes. League-wise, they've stayed firmly within the divisions of the Isthmian League, a mostly semi-professional regional league covering Greater London, East and South East England that sits 2 tiers below League Two. Not a million miles away, but in many ways a million miles away. As we've already learned, however, in this reality things have progressed at quite a rate, and with the momentum of new investment, a new sponsor and a new stadium, not to mention an ex-World Cup winning player manager, who knows how far this plucky upstart of a club can go. So without further ado, let's go and meet the squad of players responsible for this unprecedented ascent of the Football League. So here we are, here are the lads, time to get acquainted. This might be, I would say, when it comes to Master League, my finest ever achievement. I've created this team from scratch, each player individually handcrafted by me. Mini faces, real game faces, stats, all of those things. They're all based on the exact first 11, pretty much exact, as of now in real life. And I'd like to give a huge thank you and shout out to Ryan Herrick, who's part of the media team at Leatherhead FC. And he helped me out with, the stats, the names, everything. And we went from there. So, I mean, it's sort of similar to playing with the Master League default team. It might as well be. None of you will know any of these players, but you will soon get to know and love them, I'm sure. I reckon there's some real gems in here. We are the lowest rated team in the Championship at the moment by quite a long stretch. I think we're 1.5 star. I don't know if there are any 1.5 star teams, but I am fairly certain we are the lowest rated team. So we've got a bit of work to do. As you can see, just generally, the squad looking pretty thin. We had a lot of loan players last season in League One. With the step up to the Championship, we're going to have to make some signings. There is going to be budget available to do that. But that is going to be something that we're going to do in the second episode, which is going to be streaming live in not very long from now if you're watching this during the premiere. I'll get to that in a minute. Very exciting. Some of you will already be aware. But as I said, now is the time to meet this team who've battled all the way up from the Isthmian League through 4 tiers of football and find themselves now in the Championship. It's been an incredible feat. And I want to keep this team together as much as possible. We are going to have to make some new signings. But there's a lot of good young players in here, which bodes well for the future. I think we can keep a lot of these as part of the first 11. Let's start from the back. Goalkeeper Zaki Ouala. He's Algerian, English. I think I've got him in here as an Algerian international. Maybe I should have kept him as English. I don't know what he claims. He's 25 years old, right-footed, 5'9", so he's a little bit small for a keeper, but reportedly great with the ball at his feet. So as you can see there, great passing stats. He's also got the very useful goalkeeper low punt, which is a really useful player skill. Means he can do one of those sort of sideways volleys out of the hand, picking out players. That's a big one. He's got fighting spirit as well. 66 rated keeper though. I think he is... no, he's one of our lowest rated players. Not the lowest. So Zaki, we want to give him a season at least, but maybe we do need to look elsewhere. In real life, at this very moment, Zaki is actually in his 4th year at the club, his 2nd spell. He's pretty much spent his entire career in the lower leagues, although he did spend 1 season in the Algerian top flight at US Biskra. Interesting little fact there about our Zaki. And if you wanted to, and you lived in the Surrey, South London-ish area, you can hire him via his one-to-one goalkeeping training business. So check him out on Twitter. That's Zaki. That's our man at the back. So moving into the defence now, and we've got our 2 Wills at the back. Where there's a will, there's 2 Wills, there's always a way. There's a lot to be done there. And also, this guy is called Salmon. So if he ever scores a header, obviously we'll have to say he rows like a halibut. And we'll start with Will, Big Will Salmon. He's 34 years old, no spring chicken. He's just over 6 foot tall, I think. Decent all-round centre-back. He will be in decline. He is the club captain and a very experienced player, obviously. He can also play at right-back as well as centre-back. To his right is 21-year-old Will Seeger, very much doing his apprenticeship alongside Big Will Salmon at the back. He's a Tanner through and through, came up through the youth academy, 21 years old now. Really comfortable on the ball, can play in central midfield, right, left back, centre back. I fancy he is going to progress pretty nicely actually. Only 68 rated, but he is our highest rated centre back now. Out on the right we have 22-year-old Crossley Lima, a pacey overlapping right back who can also play a little bit further forward if needed. Confident in both attack and defence, obviously 83 speed, 80 acceleration being his main attribute there. But he can get forward, put crosses into the box. He's going to be a good all-round right back, no complaints there. And on the other side of the fence, we've got Misha Jamaili, another good youth prospect, 20 years old. Left-footed left back, that's a good start. He's a decent all-rounder. Red stats all the way down, but I think there's room to grow there. Decent passing, relatively quick, good defensive awareness. Can do a little bit of everything. Nothing particularly well, but you never know. He could turn out to be a decent one. So moving now into the midfield, we've got Craig Mcgee, our defensive midfield rock. Another player in his early 20s, still got room to improve. He's a good tackler, good passer of the ball, and he's very much the water carrier in this team, just keeps the ball moving, steadies the ship at the back. I like him. You've got to have one of those players, and he's got a bit of a wild card alongside him. Yeah, J.Hunter. Ever heard of him? Yeah, looking a bit rough there. Actually, that mini face really isn't working very well for me, is it? It looks like I've had a stroke. One side of the face is definitely drooping there, but we all know about him. Ex-World Cup winner, can play, has played right back, right midfield, but now, as is often the case where, you know, the speed, the physical abilities start to decline, the stamina goes down as we age. We've made our way into central midfield. We're only 68 rated there. I think if there was a right midfield position here, I think we're 70 overall at best. At right back we're 69 rated, so we can always pop in there as well. But yeah, playing in midfield now. Player manager, we can do whatever we like. Where we've lost that blistering pace after all the injuries and all the leg breaks, we have developed a little bit more accuracy in our passing. I think we're going to be able to dictate the game from the centre of midfield, but also we can play out on the wing if we want to. How are we at right wing? 63, not ideal. As we see there, we are 32 years old now. Yeah, don't try and think too much about the timeline, because I clearly didn't. So as we move further forward now, this is where we start to get into the players that I think have got real potential. This man here, possibly the pick of the bunch, Charlie Hester Cook. Sadly, in real life, he's actually on his way out of Leatherhead. He's currently still, I think, a Leatherhead player technically, but he has signed for our big rivals, Dorking Wanderers, who are now in the league above. They were always in the Isthmian Premier with us, but they have made the step up. And Charlie is going to be moving there, but he, well, in the real world, he's going to be moving there. In this reality, he stayed on board and was a crucial figure in us climbing up the leagues. 21 years old, but he's got a lot of talent. He can play anywhere in the midfield, can just about play as an attacking midfielder. But everything good at this club does tend to go through him. Great passer, decent engine as well, good balance, good physical contact, but can also defend as well. He's got all the player skills you'd want to see. This guy, I think, is going to be special for us. We've got to keep an eye on him, definitely. Got to keep him on board as well. And despite being the lowest rated side in the league, I think we've actually got some good talent up top as well. Again, more good young talent. Out on the right wing, we've got Danny Rowe, 24 years old, 5'9". Speedy winger. What more could you ask for at this level? He's very direct in his style of play. He can play on the wing, he can play as a centre forward or in the midfield. In real life, he was signed from Oxford City, so a pretty decent signing. He can definitely shoot. He's got an eye for goal. I think he's only got 68 rated finishing, but I'm pretty certain he'll score a few goals for us. Dynamic winger. Dynamic. So another one certainly worth keeping your eye on through this series is Queco Lucan out on this left wing. One of the newest signings at the Tanners. He's a little lad, only 5'7", right-footed 23-year-old. Can play on either wing. Very, very skillful player. Combines that speed and acceleration with good tight possession, good dribbling. And he's got some moves as well. We can expect a little bit of flair from Queco out on that wing. And hopefully Rowe and Lucan can be finding the big man up top. One of two big men up top anyway. And the first one we're going to look at today is Great Evans. Yes, 20 years old. This guy's going to be good as well. This guy's going to be good. Only 69 overall rating at the moment, but at 6'3", he's a big old chap, certainly a target man for us to look to. Strong, great balance, confident in front of goal, but also got that great ability that all good target men should have, which is to receive the ball, keep hold of it, and then play his teammates in as well. In real life, he's been a bit of a journeyman striker up till signing for Leatherhead. He's had 8 teams in 3 years when we signed him, but he did manage 21 goals in 55 games during that period. Decent strike rate. Could this be the opportunity that Great needs? Well, he's fired us up the leagues. He would have been our top scorer for sure in our ascent of the leagues. Can he keep that going now into the Championship? Well, still a very young man, so absolutely every chance of that happening. So quick look at the bench. Bennett, just about one of the only players I couldn't really find anything out about. He's 18 years old, 5'9", another short keeper. He is our reserve keeper. He's 60 rated. I'm hoping we don't see too much of him. So giving us some options on both left and right wing is 19-year-old Charlie Dawkins, ex-Chelsea Academy player. Played for Aldershot Town at 15, was touted at that age as being potentially a bit special. Dropped off a little bit. Don't know if we'll see too much of him, but he's good on the ball, decently quick. Not a bad option off the bench. At centre-back, we've got 22-year-old David Omperon. Confident defender, he can play anywhere across the back four. Not too much more to say about him than that. But again, we've got a young squad. We've got some experience in there. Obviously Hunter, Salmon, Zaki at the back. Other than that though, a lot of good young players who've taken their opportunity to show what they can do at every level so far. I've got no reason to believe they can't do that in the Championship. Now, a bit of a wild card here. Had to add big Jamie Mackey in. Now, some of you will remember Jamie Mackey. He's now retired. He's 35 years old as well, same age as me in real life, and actually, I sort of half know him. Weirdly, I played rugby with him when I was about 11. Dorking Rugby Club. Jamie, it was a good time. It was a good time. Sort of know him as well through friends of friends. Great guy. Scottish international, 9 caps, 2 goals. Right-footed player who can play on the wing, play everywhere really. And he was a Leatherhead youth team player before he made his move to Wimbledon. And then, controversially perhaps, he played for both Plymouth and Exeter down in Devon as well. Now, a lot of you might remember him from his time at QPR in the Premier League, probably most recently. And likely, if you do remember him, you may well remember him scoring in the probably most dramatic Premier League game of all time, the 2011-2012 final day of the season where City came up against QPR, needing a result. And it was Jamie Mackey scoring against City to give City fans the most uncomfortable half hour of their lives.
Jamie Mackey has sent Manchester City towards heartbreak on the final day of the season.
Before the famous Aguero! But he was a part of that historic day, and now we get to see him. We've managed to coax him out of retirement anyway, because he retired pretty early. He's now, I don't want to call him a TikTok star, but he's pretty big on TikTok. You'll have to check him out. He's a great guy, and it's great to have him in the team. 68 rated, yeah, Still got that stamina. That is actually the official rating that he had the last time he was in the game, which was 2019. So apologies for that, Jamie, but I feel like you can still do a job. Now, almost last, but definitely not least, is the big lad, club legend, Jerry Nemani. Oh, this guy, huge fans' favourite. 6'3", 29 years old, built like a brick shit house. We've got him down as a centre forward here because in real life he is playing as a centre forward at the moment. But by trade he is definitely a centre back. But times being hard as they are in real life at the moment for Leatherhead, he has been pushed forward to the dislike of a lot of fans. If you check out The Lip, which is the premier Leatherhead blog, as much as he loves Jerry and as he says he can do no wrong in these parts, he's not a centre forward. Well, he's not a goal scorer, but he's certainly a decent target man. But as I said, huge fan favourite, 10 seasons at the club this year, and he's even continued to play for Leatherhead, despite having recently moved to Manchester. Yep, he moved to Manchester in 2020, and he now makes the 400-mile round trip for Leatherhead games, out of his own pocket as well. I mean, stand up and applaud. Big Jerry Nemani. We're going to have to give him games. Actually, he's a better centre-back than Will Salmon, so he may well start ahead of the captain, form depending. And finally, just to round things up, we've got Andrew Briggs, stand-in central midfielder. He's actually our set-piece specialist. 23 years old, still got some room to improve there. Good general range of passing. Good option off the bench. But there you have it. That is the core of this squad. The historic Leatherhead team who've made it all the way from the Isthmian Premier up to the Championship, and who knows how far can we go from there. It's a great group of lads who've obviously developed an incredible bond. I mean, the 59 team spirit doesn't indicate that, but maybe that's the new player manager coming in this year. Where will we play? I don't know. We could probably should play at right back, but I think needs must there. Obviously, we need to sign maybe 2 or 3 players. We don't have a reserve left back, so we certainly need to sign someone there. I'd quite like an attacking midfielder. We don't currently have anyone who can play there any better than Charlie at 66 rated. I like to have an attacking midfielder. Normally at this point, I'd be going through, depending on the manager that we're choosing, the formations that we're going to use, but I don't need to do that because I am the manager now, and this is essentially the formation that we will be using. And unsurprisingly, we've worked our way up the leagues with a pragmatic style of play. Yeah, maybe we could have made it all that way, playing incredible tiki-taka football, but we haven't. We're a counter-attacking side, let's be honest, using that big centre forward, whether it is Great or Big Jerry, and then getting runners off them. It's worked, we're here now, and I am so excited to get going. And if you're watching this as part of the premiere on the Monday evening, then things are going to get going right now. Yes, indeed. Follow the link in the description to my Twitch channel, where I, at this very second, will be beginning to stream the second episode of this series. We'll be doing the transfers. You can help me with them. We'll take a closer look at the side, some of the formation bits, and we'll play our first game in the Championship with me as the manager at Leatherhead and also a player. It's going to be great. I really am so excited about this series. If you're not watching this as part of the premiere, do not worry. You might end up missing the stream, which will probably go on for a couple of hours, but every single episode, as I've mentioned, is going to be on YouTube as normal. I'm going to be editing down the Twitch streams. Basically, I'm just recording them live. I thought, I'm going to be recording these episodes. I'd commentate all the way through, basically mainly for my own enjoyment, so why not do it live for everyone to enjoy over on Twitch. But if you can't make it to Twitch, then the videos will be out as usual. Let's take a look at the new schedule. There is going to be a schedule. I'm really going to try and stick to it. I've been so lax this year. I'm giving myself these goals. So as you can see, I'm going to be streaming this Master League series twice a week. It's going to be on Friday and Monday nights, starting at 9 o'clock, going on till 11-ish. That sort of time, so I'd love you to join me for them. It's going to be great. And the YouTube schedule is pretty much going to follow that. There's going to be videos out at 1 o'clock on the Friday and Monday as well. So if you haven't watched the stream on the Friday, you'll get to watch it on the Monday. And then if you think, ooh, I'd quite like to watch the next episode live, you then watch the stream on the Monday night and you're caught up and you're ready to go. In theory, this should work really well. So if you're not watching this as part of the premiere, it would still be great if you could follow the link in the description over to Twitch and then follow me there, hit that notification bell, and it'll let you know when I'm live next. And I'd love you to join me. I'd love the back and forth, the input into this series. I think I really miss that from some of the live streams we've done over on YouTube, so I'm looking forward to it. And speaking of YouTube, if you haven't already, it'd be great if you could subscribe to this channel. It's a mad, crazy dream, I know, but one day I would love to hit 13,000 subscribers. So yeah, if you haven't already, subscribe on YouTube. And finally, I'd be crazy not to mention the fact that there are a few of these Tim Sherwood Passion tokens available still as part of the Patreon. So if you're interested in that, you'd like to support this channel, and you will be invited to monthly Patreon-only live streams where there's going to be giveaways. Plus you get one of these to your house, almost unlimited good luck, as the current patrons already know. Then follow the other link in the description there. And yeah, your support is massively appreciated. So that's it. Hopefully you're going to pop over to Twitch now and join me, where I'll be live looking like this, probably. I mean, definitely. Well, probably different shirt, actually, which might be a bit weird. Maybe I should wear the same shirt. We'll see. And if not, then come and catch the second episode of this series in just a few days. I'll see you in a bit.